today. I'm kind of thinking I might just kind of try to. I'm kind of into the noodling around thing. I'm thinking so maybe I'll take a rest off of the. I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking maybe I'll take a rest from the nodal points over here a little bit and try to just do maybe rhythm or something. And so I'm kind of slacking on my theory stuff for a little bit, but um, I'm like in a transition period because it's basically becoming accounting time. I think I'm gonna have to go back to doing accounting stuff. So maybe I should just noodle around. Even though guitar is accounting stuff, music is accounting stuff. People don't like to say that. I feel like it's been good practice for busy season. Gotta bring the numbers back into the music. Pythagoras would be ashamed of what our music notation system has become. Tried to remove the numbers. You're missing the whole point. You're missing. Okay. drop it in there, you know. So let's see if I can. Well, anyway, that's what I'll mess around with, I think, today, and then maybe I'll mess around with the idea of going between my different shapes here and trying to blend them together, use what I've kind of put together here functionally as I do the same stuff that I always do, but then I'm going to try to think about it like from different perspectives so that I can maybe think about, and that'll give me ideas to do blending the different collections of notes together consciously, right? So if I'm like blending different nodal points in the collection of the key of C to different nodal points as I move over in a Mixolydian, or maybe I'll try to do the Spanish thing more to see what I can do like with that, because the Spanish thing I always kind of liked because it's kind of like an A minor, or I always thought of it in A minor, but then it has that pull back with the E major to pull back to I always saw that as a pull back to the A minor as the ending point. But now that the more I mess with it, and I noticed, and by the way, I'm not a Spanish expert, I'm not a blues expert, I'm not a jazz expert, I'm an accountant, okay? But I learned what I can on the YouTubes, and I try to learn, so I try to figure out, you know, and then I do what I do with it, right? So, but it seems to me that it has this kind of Spanish progression is kind of like an A minor, but then they made the E of it major. Why? Because it has that leading tone, because that's the fifth of going back to the A, so they're throwing in that leading tone back to the A. That's what an E minor does, or an E major, I mean. E major gives you that leading tone. That's what I think of it as. But the more I like noodle with it and listen to people on the YouTubes, so they seem to say, well, oftentimes people are playing in the Mixolydian node, meaning, the Phrygian node, which I thought was interesting, because that's this note. So the Spanish sound you often hear people say is that node. So you're playing off of that, which is kind of like the E. That's the E minor. That's an E minor chord, like in relation to the Aeolian. That's a minor node. This is a minor node, which would have a minor chord, but it has a flat second. Right. So now I'm in the same kind of set of chords, but I have that flat second, and so you can kind of hang on the E minor, and instead of going to major, that might lead back to the Aeolian, you can kind of hang on that, and it's not and hang it on an E minor, but think of it as a Phrygian, and then do that Spanishy kind of half step. So that's how I'm thinking of it now. So I'm going to kind of mess with that. And again, I haven't studied like Spanish music or anything. I mean, it'd be cool if I hadn't. I'm not, you know, and people like, I'm not Spanish as far as I know. I'm just American as far as I know. But, you know, I grew up in California, so I feel like I have, you know, some credentials to like play with it. So that's what I'll do. That's what I'll do. I'm going to noodle around with that. Because you can go back and forth between like the A minor sounding thing, to the Phrygian sounding thing. And if you're doing that, then you're almost doing like the bluesy thing in a way, because if I switch from this A, that's an E minor or a Phrygian chord, and then I make it a major by pushing the third up, which is common to do in the Spanish thing, as far as like what I, and what I mess. Again, I'm not a not claiming to be an expert, but in the genre. But I would go here, and then like if you do that, right, that's common to do because then it leads back to here. But if you're doing that, you're kind of almost doing the Mixolydian thing because we're messing with the third of that minor to a major. So like the third, so like the shape would be like, you might as well throw in the flat. You might as well throw in the flat 7 if you're gonna go that far already, right? So maybe I'll mess with that. And I'll try to, so I'm going to try to, maybe I'll think about that for a while and see how I can blend that together. And then because I've been working on my Spanish, watching anime in Spanish, which has been difficult too, because like, the shows I want to watch, they don't have the anime, they don't have the audio in Spanish, so I have to watch the subtitulos in Spanish. But then when I try to make English audio, they don't give me the subtitles. So I have to watch it in Japanese and then read it in Spanish. This is difficulties, man. I mean, it's tough. Life is tough. Anyway, let me try a joke first. Get the joke out of the way. I think I've been writing just stupid pun jokes, but that's what I got. I thought they were funny. They were funny. They're funny to me in the evening when my head's not working. So that's what I've been writing. Gotta practice. Gotta keep practicing. All right. So here's my pun joke. I'm not even sure this is a joke. It's more of like a play on word thing, but whatever. People keep flexing like they're secret agents. They're like, I totally gamed the music system fretboard. They gamed the music fretboard system, you know? And it's like, okay, James Bond, you memorized 3 pentatonic boxes and suddenly you're hacking the Pentagon with a capo, for crying out loud. Follow my guitar course. I gamed the system. I gamed the system, they say. And it's like, dude, You didn't game anything. You Googled a diagram, for crying out loud. If you actually want to win at life, the answer is not to find a way, some sneaky way, some like trick, some shortcut to game the system. That's not how you do it. It's you need to system the game. They got it all backwards. You don't game the system. You got to system the game, man. System the game. They say it out loud. Let it marinate. Let it saute in your brain. You got to system the game. People are out here trying to game the system like they're sneaking extra samples of Costco. That's not how you actually do something if you want to do it well. Meanwhile, I'm just begging them, stop trying to game the system. It's a waste of time. Start systeming the game, man. Start systeming the game. I'm telling you. Once you system the game, whole different universe, you know? You don't even play the guitar even anymore. You run a guitar like an organization. Every fret reports to you like you're the regional manager and you know exactly what's going on because you've systemized the game. You systemed the game. I wrote a song about it. Let me see what. Oh, wait a sec. So I've never heard the song before. I just put my joke into Suno, and let's see. This is my first reaction to it. So if it says something stupid, if it says something that's gonna get me canceled or something, I guess no one gets canceled anymore. That's an old thing. It's free reign now. But if it says something offensive, you know, I haven't heard it yet. Okay, I put my joke in there, and now I just play it, and I see it and I react to it.
Yeah, people keep flexing like they're secret agents, bragging I totally game the music fretboard system. Okay, James Bond, calm down, my guy. You memorized 3 pentatonic boxes. Now you're out here acting like a capo can hack the Pentagon. Follow my guitar course, I gamed the system, sure you did. You didn't game anything, you just Googled a diagram and caught a case of overconfidence. If you really want to win at life, the answer isn't to game the system. No, 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 it's the system, the game. System 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 the game. Say it out loud. Let it marinate, let it saute beautifully in your brain. People trying to game the system like they're sneaking extra samples at Costco, doing side quests nobody asked for, while I'm begging them, stop gaming the system, start systeming the game, cause once you system the game, it opens a whole different universe. You don't even play guitar the same anymore. You run that guitar like an organization, and every fret reports to you like you're the regional manager of music.
See, it's not even changing the lyrics anymore. It's just it just read my script with some. All right, I'm gonna have to give some oversight to Suno. I feel like Suno's slacking off. I told you to rewrite it so there's like so it's like a song. All right, whatever, dude. Suno used to do a better job, but now I gotta micromanage it. I gotta micromanage it now. That's what I have to do. Try to just put some chords behind my script without even rewriting it to make it like song-like. You know? That's lazy. I thought you were an AI. I thought AIs were better than that. I thought AIs were better than that. That's what I would expect from like minimum wage place or something. Okay, anyways. All right. So let's try to system the game on this Spanish thing. So if I was in the collection of notes around the key of C, and I feel like this Spanish thing, the Spanish progression is basically, again, I'm not an expert, like, so people might Like, well, you're not thinking of it right. Okay, I I'm just doing. This is how I see it based on the way I like to noodle, and it sounds Spanishy to me. Okay, so we have this. I like to say, like, you could play it down here in A minor, which is probably the more typical way. A, G. G's up here. Where does it go? And then F. And then they sneak in not an E minor like you would expect, but an E major. Why? Because that's the fifth of the, I believe, yeah, it's the fifth of the A, right? Meaning it's got this leading tone that leads to the A. So that's why it kind of sounds good just from a normal thought process. But playing it down here and jumping to that G, it's kind of like a big jump. Most people are pretty good at the G jump, but it's a little faster to go to this E-shaped G, which you could bar like that, but it'd be easier to do it this way. Like most people think of it as an F shape, right? Because the F shape doesn't have an open position, but it's really an E bar shape. So I can take that and then go back to the F shape, which would be a bar shape. You could do it this way, but I don't really need that low one on top if I don't want it. And then to the E minor. And somehow, see how it kind of seems like it finishes on E minor? Because the way I was thinking of it when I play like minor blues is like, oh, that's the pull to go back to the A. So the A should be the resolve. But you almost like with this style of music, to me, like it almost sounds cool not to resolve it, you know? That's like part of the, so you almost end on the thing that you should resolve, meaning if I go right, instead of going back to A, it's like you're just gonna hang there. Because I would think you would go there as a shortcut, a pass-through note. Normally, if I was playing in a bluesy kind of context, I would say that's a pass-through note to go to here. Right? It's because you're going a half step away to an A. But no, here you're like, no, that's where I'm going to hang, man. That's where I'm going to hang. That's where I like it. Is that tensiony place that's supposed to resolve. That's where I'm. Wait, that's tensiony. That's what I like it. I like it tensiony. I'm just going to hang there. So then, but then if I do it up here, we're gonna be like, if I did it this way, the other way to play it is like this way. The A's up here, and then just go right down the shapes that fit in these two strings, which is kind of a nice way to play it, because then it's natural fit to your hand, just a 3-note chord, so they're not as full of a chord. But I can mute this top string and I can mute the bottom string so they don't get in the way, and I get a nice tight chord even with a pick. Now again, a lot of Spanish guitars would, I assume, from what I can see, maybe frown on the pick so much, and they would be saying, well, even the steel strings are not as cool as the nylons, right? For some types of right, and then you'd be doing like, I can't do it, right? Something like this. I don't know. But that's why I say I'm not trying to sound like, I'm just saying to if I just use that progression with what I know, with my style, you know, then I would have these three and I could still kind of strum it and have a pretty tight thing, and then I can go here. So then it goes back to here. To this one. So that's G, and again, you could play the G bar chord like this, or you can have the F shape with my pinky down there, but now I don't need my pinky down there. I'm just really doing the three notes per string. So I'm like right in here. and then I can bring that back to the F shape, which if I just bring that back to these 3 strings, would be right here, same shape. Notice it's just, I started off with a minor, so the only difference with the shape that fits is this minor would be, like over here the minor was a minor third back, right? Now it's a major third back, meaning a distance of 4 notes away instead of 3. So that F, you could think of the F as being like this, bar chord F, or this with your pinky down here. But now I'm just playing the 3 notes that I need right in the middle. Everything so far has fit in the shape, but now I'm going to deviate from what fits in the shape because I'm going to drop this back 1 more. And you would think that would be it, an E, because you would think that you would be of an E minor, which would drop back, which you could play, but then you sharp it like you do in the blues. You throw in that tension of sharpening this one, right? So this one gets, so then this one, so now you end up closing at an E major. And to me, like if you want to mix in the bluesy thing, it's like, oh wait, well now that I'm already in an E major, then maybe you want to make more tension, like you could say, because you could throw more tension and drop this down to the 7, which would be right there, right? I could throw more tension in and go, and then maybe I drop this down here. See how that sounds more kind of bluesy? You're getting a little twang in there. Or if you did it up here. And that should resolve back to the A minor. So if I was down here with the E, then that resolves. Now the A minor is one same shape but 1 down, right? So the A minor is down here in open position. So down 1. So I basically played on these 3 strings. I just walked it back to whatever fits from here, these 3 strings, where whatever fits with the A, with the middle string as the root. The A was the root, and then that has a minor third. Then this Mixolydian, which is a G, was the root, which has a major third, and then the Lydian was the root, and then it had a major third, and then we went back to the Phrygian, and it normally would have the minor third, but we sharped it, and then when we ended the progression, we moved down to these 3 sets of strings and ended on the normal A minor. So it goes. And then we could end on the A minor, or we can go back to this A minor. And then it loops back around. So it kind of seems like you would think it would resolve back to this A, but it kind of seems like the end of the progression is actually the E. Because that's where you want to hang out, kind of, because that's like you like. It's almost like you, instead of going to tension and then resolving to the calm area, it's like you started at the calm area and then you want to hang out at the tension area. So that's going to be, now that also sounds like, if you change the rhythm a bit, it also sounds like that Stray Cats song, which is like a rockabilly song. Walking down an alley or something like a stray cat, with my tail in the frickin' air. I don't know how, I forget how it goes, but something like that. It's very, I don't know, was it greasery sounding? I forget what the I don't know what it was. By the way, I kind of, it's got that thing to. Dun, 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 dun. that's gonna be. So, anyways, you could try to do that sound. Walking down an alley with a tail in the air, feeling like I just don't care, 'cause I'm a stray cat and someone threw a shoe at me. But whatever, dude. I just. So anyway, that's the basic pattern. So then I'm thinking like that now it seems like the thing kind of hangs at, like, if we go back to the Spanish, then let's move away from the stray cat thing for the rockabilly for a bit. That's a whole nother thing, a whole nother vibe, man. I don't know what's happening there. I don't even want to know. We better turn around. All right. So then, like, I'm thinking, like, it seems, so I'm thinking if I play that back this way, the other thing that seems to happen with it is that you start hanging out, like I say, on the last progression. So it almost feels like the most tension-y part of the progression is like the place you want to hang out. But then it's almost like you kind of go back and forth like the blues does between throwing in, like, if I was on this, like, this is a Phrygian now. So now it's almost like now I'm not in the A minor, I'm in Phrygian. So it's same collection of notes, but I'm in Phrygian. Like up here, that would be an E minor shape right there with 3 notes. But then I'm scooting up this one to make it, so now you're scooting this one up to make it a major, right? So you're doing the same thing as with the blues. Wait, it's right here. So we're scooting. But then you're also kind of scooting that back to play with the Phrygian in the Spanish music, it seems to me, that has this, because the Phrygian has that distinctive second. So it's kind of like you're going back and forth. It's almost like you're blending Phrygian with the related major, or the maybe even the related Mixolydian. So if I was to think about this as collections of notes that the Spanish groove kind of plays in, where can I go with it? Like, how can I expand on the progression that might be natural? I'm thinking like that I would have, like, it sounds like a mix between the collection of notes around the key of C, where I'm going back and forth between the Aeolian being the root and the Phrygian being the root. And then I'm going back and forth between the collection of notes around this note, which is an E, as a Phrygian node. But then I'm also kind of bouncing to move the third over, which means when I do that, I'm kind of making it I'm making that nodal point either a major, because it would have a major third now, or I'm making it a Mixolydian. So I would think that one way we can kind of explore this collection to mix it together with a different collection is to take that more seriously. Maybe that might be fun to do, right? And then say, well, that note, which is an E, I can actually switch it to an E major or an E Mixolydian and start thinking of myself as in E Mixolydian. So I have over here, I have a G major, which would be, or maybe I can even go to E minor. That doesn't really work. I don't have that collection of notes here, which would be a E Mixolydian. So I'm on the 7th fret. On the 7th fret, it would be a Dorian 7th fret. It would be, wait a sec, I'm on the 7th fret. It would be a Locrian or an Aeolian, or I don't really have that collection of notes. So maybe I should add that collection of notes. Maybe I'll do that later. But I can think of it as like, but that's what I'm thinking, right? And then if I shuffle this one up, then I'm thinking now that I'm in like the collection of notes around changing that node to a Mixolydian node, basically, would be the idea. Anyway, I'm kind of breaking my mind. I wasn't going to go too technical here. But anyway, but I can I can play like this as in the Phrygian. So now I'm kind of leaning forward because I want to emphasize this half step. So I think the other thing to do in Spanish is this kind of half step. So that's a minor node. So now I'm not thinking of it as an E major anymore. I went back to thinking of it as like the Phrygian node, which is a minor node, meaning it has a minor third in it. And then if I go back to this, now I'm on the A major again, back to the normal progression. I'm just going to walk this finger up because I have the low E on top. So now I'm back up to this E on the 7th fret, and now I'm going to try to switch to the Mixolydian instead of thinking of myself in minor. So now I'm going back from an E major to an E minor now, or an E Phrygian. On an E there, and I'm gonna sharp it now. So now I'm on an E major, and that's because I have this leading tone, which I can do a 7 chord, an E major 7. So now I'm back on A minor. So if I'm back here, I can do this box right here. same box over here. So now I'm going to think, okay, now I'm going to switch my mind to make the nodal center point that Phrygian right there to make it sound Spanishy, right? So now I'm going to say, well, now I'm not thinking of myself as going back to A minor. I'm switching my center point from that E major to an E minor, but it's going to be a Phrygian minor. Back to A minor, G, F, now I'm back up to this square, same square, so I can do the same thing here. Here the same square is up here, obviously. So now I'm here, same, and I can do the same pattern. And I'm just emphasizing that minor second. You have the same shape here, but it's jagged because of the kink in the tuning. Wait a sec. Yeah, here's the bottom of the shape, because the top would be up here, but now it's because of the kink in the tuning, this tectonic plate shifted to the right. So if I'm just looking for that half step thing, just doing the same thing wherever that shape is, but it still sounds different because even though it's the same pitch, it's a different octave, you know. pattern again. So now I'm switching back to A minor is my root. Back to E Phrygian. Back to A minor. Another way to play A minor. So now I'm just giving a variation on it. So as I'm playing this, I kind of like to throw in my normal pattern and just make it, see if I can just make it fit. So this is just going to be like A minor, and the third is up here. But if I ring out that open string, I'm droning another A. So I can get that pattern. Doesn't sound exactly Spanishy, but it fits if you just did the whole progression. Then if I move that pattern up here, you get right there. And then if I move that pattern up here, then it shifts the top one up to there. So I'm kind of droning the A. Quite Spanishy, but if you have this, if you just did this, kind of throw that in there. And at the very least, you might not go all the way up like that if you're doing the Spanishy thing. Like you might hang out like here on this one, because that's basically another way to play the A minor. So I could be like, and then the other thing I like to do is muddy it up with half steps, which again might not be the full most Spanishy thing to do, I don't know. But like if I just move this pattern up half steps to here, now it's, and then I move it back real quickly, that's legal because it's only a half step away and you get some wonk. So if I did it the other way, I can bring it back this way and go this way and then bring it back. So that gives it a little bit more tension, but I'm always droning the A. So it's like, and that same pattern I can do down here on this one, which is basically like a D minor pattern, which again isn't in the normal progression of the Spanish progression, but it fits right into this shape because I can just move that finger up and then do that. Now I'm droning the D. So that pattern, if I followed it all the way up, would do the same thing. I can drone the open D, and I can bring this up to here, so it would be going. So I'm just droning the D up to here. I can work that in. I often like working that into the progression. So let's see if I can make that kind of work. I don't know. So then I can go back and forth from that to the Phrygian. The other thing you're supposed to do is that dramatic strumming, right? Although I think you're supposed to finger it, but I have a pick. try to get some tapping in there.